Hello, everyone, and welcome to round number 2 of the 2021 Majette Monster Mash. Saturday, October 30th. We're in the afternoon, and Matty O had a scorching first round to get things started, and they're going to head back out after lunch. We're going to bring you the concluding round. Got some drone flyovers working for you this time. Hole 1, 498 feet. Obviously, you can see the water on that left-hand side along the entire way of the pin, and then far left up on your left-hand corner also out of bounds. Matty opened with the 10 under. Kevin Kiefer the third, trying to keep it close at 7 under. And right now, it looks like they're trying to make it a two-man race. And just like you could tell in the morning round, plenty of wind to deal with. And there's not a lot of tree cover out here. Kevin hung up a little bit early. Here's Adam Rogers out of Gainesville. Adam comes in with a 956 rating. I believe I covered him at the Chainhawk Open back in 2020. And now we have Zach Cole joining us. He's rated 962 out of Enterprise, Alabama. Not a lot of trees, but apparently they're strategically placed. Kevin comes into this with a 1,012 rating. It's about 30 points behind Matty O. So he's going to have to play some of his best golf if he's going to want to try and keep up with the likes of Orum. Solid recovery shot. That'll give him a look at for birdie still. Also, great shot by Zach. Making sure he stays clear of the pond on the left side. It looks like a little overcompensation there for Adam. And Orum's got a routine approach shot here. Even able to give it a little bit of a bid for the eagle, but pretty manageable there for birdie. Oh, and you're not watching Florida disc golf if you're not seeing a turbo putter too. Now Zach with some serious work on the comebacker. There's an OB line directly behind Zach, so had he carried somehow all the way across, then he might have found the out of bounds. But he's inbounds from where he's at, and not enough chain on the way back. Little extra work for Adam, but he'll walk away with the par. Kevin gets within 2 of Orum for a moment, but Matty's going to have an easy drop in. And he should be maintaining the 3-stroke advantage. We saw him on a tear. I believe he was 6 under through 8 during round number 1. We'll see if he can get off to a good start here in round 2. 456 feet. The par 3. The water carry isn't that far. Clearly you have to see just how aggressive you want to be. OB comes into play deep and left of the basket.
Matty O, Kevin, Adam, me. Still fine.
I wondered for a moment if there were chains in that tree. Sounded like a tree ace. Let's see what Kevin can do.
Oh, that's straight out.
He's got an opportunity, but he doesn't like it. Yeah, and that pushes that left side out of bounds. And really, I mean, other than the obvious water, that's a mistake you just can't make on this tee shot.
Oh, God, that was close.
Clearing it and then some, no problem for Adam. During round one, Lucas Hughes was the only competitor birdie this hole. Certainly feels like a bonus at 456, dealing with the wind and the out of bounds. Just almost banking it off and putting it in. The ultimate bank shot. From what I saw in the comments, quite a few of you have experience playing to a course that's got multiple baskets, as we've seen out here. And in fact, I'll say that was even more often than I thought. I usually think of that as somewhat of a rarity, but it sounds like it's becoming more and more common as more courses are getting put in. I'll go ahead and speak to Wisconsin disc golf and say it's not that common. Of course, we have a handful or a few courses out of nearly 400 that do offer multiple baskets up left all the time. But one of the biggest advantages to having one set of baskets that rotates is then you're not using the same traffic and wear patterns. And that's one of the reasons why having multiple pins, it's great for players for the variety, but it's also great for the grounds so that you pick them up and move them every once in a while. So not everyone's playing to the exact same pins all the time and walking the same traffic pattern. So there's pros and cons, but here we are at hole 3, 279 feet. Relatively basic shot, of course, playing out to the peninsula. You've got the OB surrounding the basket. You got a few guardian trees just in front of it. You want to come in my opinion, just a little bit short, maybe get a skip up to the pin. You do have some room on the back side of that green, but makes sense that you're a little bit tentative, want to come up short of it.
Go in. Wow. Nice shot, dude. So much trust in this. Yep. Can't trust myself.
That looked like a mid. And that one fights to the back side of the tree, at least giving a somewhat unobstructed putt. Kevin plays the driver wide left, trying to get it to come back, and a little bit short. Looks like just outside the circle or so for Kevin. And we saw that in round one. Anytime that Kevin was off, it was just a little bit light. And similar for Zach. He thought it was in a little bit low. Oh, Zach. And Matty O is stepping up finally now to his drive. And he just pierces it in there. No problems. I'll make the clarification since I did back in round 1, and I'll do it again here. This was shot on October 30th, which was a long time ahead of the announcement of Matt Orum moving over to West Side Disc. So, of course, you're seeing him play in his contract year with Prodigy at this point. I know a few of you are disappointed. You were excited to see what the new bag looked like, but this was all shot back in late October. Hole 4, 564 feet. We have the par 4. You see some OB, and then just deep here. Somewhat of a softer par 4 at 564 feet. However, there's a little bit of OB to contend with. And a moment ago, you saw Disc Golf Answer Man logo there. Big shout out. Dustin Skorupinski, along with Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, the official Disc Golf Answer Man himself. He's working the catch cam out there, and I really appreciate those guys going out and being able to capture the footage. That goes also for Bruce and Koep Corp, your presenting sponsor here at the event. Tyler, Brent, the entire crew putting on the event.
Oh, come on, work back.
So flirting slightly with that right side OB, but inbounds. Just to briefly touch back on the idea of the multiple baskets, one thing that I do love about seeing the multiple baskets on this particular course and event and layout is the fact that they're color-coded the way they are. If all the baskets were the same color, I could see it being way more confusing. However, having the two different sets of colors out here is certainly helpful. That is going to be short. And one would have to think on a calm day out here as we see Zach grab a little bit of metal. You'd think, 564, that's a pair of 280-foot shots, or 275-foot hyzers, and you should be right next to the pin. Clearly the wind providing a little bit more challenge to that today, but again, somewhat of a soft par 4. 40% of the field ultimately walking away with birdies here. Matty O, part of that. So again, off to a great start. He's got 3 out of the first 4. That is a carbon copy of what he did during the opening round in the morning, where he got 3 out of the first 4 and missed the same hole. He missed hole 2 both rounds. So his lead is 5. Big shout out, latitude 64. So we head over to hole 5. Shorty, 213 feet. couple different ways you can go at this one. We're seeing a wide hyzer route if you're a righty backhander. Feel like we saw plenty of creativity during the first round. And just like that, we're going to see Matty O make the clearing, and he's inbounds, so should be a short and easy putt for him. I think he missed a relatively short putt on this one during the first round. A nearly perfect touch there by Kevin. And there were a number of times throughout the editing process here we actually turned down the noise because the wind was so prominent throughout. So if you're hearing it that loud, they're certainly contending with it here on the green. Zach's trying to pick up a birdie and just gets mashed down. We'll take it. Orum making sure to take his time, even on the short ones here. Slightly uphill. You know, if that hits the face mask or hits the band and somehow rolls back toward him, you definitely could be looking at adding a penalty stroke to his score. And that one's high, but in. Not too bad. 3 birdies in the par. Take a look at hole 6, 276 feet. It's a par 3. This entire course, I believe, was listed as a par 61 at 7,141 feet. 3 of the par 4s here on the front, a par 5, and a couple of par 4s on the back. Very little putting routine will need to be put into that one for Matty O. And he is keeping the train rolling. He's got 4 out of the last 5, trying to pick up his 5th birdie of the round. Kevin's answer is a little short. Remember, Kevin started 3 back of Orum and has lost a little bit of ground as he sits 5 behind him right now. To me, it seems as if it's a race for, of course, the first place position, but then who else will join them on the podium, as most of the field was, you know, 1 under, even, 1 over, somewhere in that neighborhood after round 1. So Orum and Kevin really separating themselves. And that one lifts as well. We're noticing a trend here now. We'll see if Kevin can at least make note of what he just saw from the previous 2 putts. Certainly some headwind lifting him. That also high. Easy comebacker for Zach. Or at least making it look easy. Whether you're putting bad or you've got difficult putts in the wind, the solution, many will tell you, is just put it closer. Makes it that much easier as Matty O collects his 5th birdie in 6 holes. And more importantly, distances himself yet again from Kevin. We move to hole number 7, 282. Little double Mando right off the tee. This little mound to come in between. We saw some discs land right next to the pin and then continue to carry past it, or they rolled. Got more of a roll than you would expect. It was really some odd ground play that we saw in round 1. We'll see if any of that happens again. Matty opting for the forehand through the Mando. Well, that checks up right next to the pin. So maybe a collective 12 feet or 15 feet for the last 2 tee shots there from Matty O. Oh, and outdoing him a little bit. Kevin can answer. Again, tall task for Kevin. It's at 6 back right now of Orum. He's not picking up any ground on this one. Hits the Mando, but short and right. We'll see the standstill there by Adam. Solid recovery shot. He's going to be walking away with a par, it looks. So as we're hearing the wind continue to rip through, the question that I need you guys to answer in the comments, you got to like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. But the question you need to answer to make you eligible for some giveaways: would you rather be playing in windy conditions, like really windy, like this or worse, or would you rather be playing in a moderate to light drizzle or rain? I'm not talking downpour. I'm talking like a drizzle or a rain, something that's constant. Which would you find worse to play in, the rain or the wind?
Adam, you got a 3? Yeah.
Then I'll make it rain. I'll give away some jerky or something, or some jerky prizes thanks to Double G. Hole 8, the last par 4 of the front 9, 624 feet. You see there's plenty to work to do here. Mandatory, the water, the OB on the left. This hole offers everything. Of course, big shout out to the Bay County Club, Brent and crew for providing the drone flyovers. There's a little issue with them during first round, which was all on my end, but glad to give you guys them right before we're watching the tee shots here in round 2. I like Adam's style. He doesn't hesitate much. He gets up and throws. No problems for Zach. Clearly, most of the work that needs to be done here on this hole is done on the second shot. And that turns over.
Oh, bad.
Wrong wind flight plate combo. And that is in the water for Kevin. And there's something to be said about Matty O there. Going deep and worrying about a long comeback putt. Just really trying to take the water and the OB entirely out of play. Even if he goes 30 or 40 or 100 feet deep or whatever it might be, at least he's making the clearing. He's for sure going to gain all that distance. And he, at worst case, can pitch back up and is looking at taking a par. That's at worst case scenario. So there's something to be said about that game plan there, as opposed to doing anything that brings the short water into play, or possibly that sidewalk that can then play to the water. Solid approach for Kevin. So Matty, somewhere in circle 2. Count it. And on an absolute tear here this second round. He's now birdied 7 out of the first 8. That's actually a 1-stroke improvement from what he did during round number 1. Zach answers with a solid putt. To put it in perspective, Matty O has seen 26 holes so far, and he's birdied 17 of them. Went bogey-free in the opening round. Of course, bogey-free here. And everybody else is struggling here. The bogeys, the double bogeys, and Orum distancing himself even more, and that's his new sponsor, Westside Dis. And we're here for the final hole of the front 9, 243 feet. Not much to it except for the OB that you can find directly behind the basket. Of course, you have to deal with the mound, the little hillside that it's on. The wind can come into play, maybe a little distraction around the parking lot as well, but relatively short, relatively easy. Orum missed this in round number 1 to close out the front 9. He's on the putting green, on the dance floor here in round 2. That's a little too much heat on it. So out of bounds for Zach. Kevin leaving himself a tester. And Adam, as I called it, loves to just get up and throw. He's ready to go. Oh, that flash is in front of the basket. I didn't see an out-of-bounds flag, though, so we're hoping that he's in bounds. Solid run by Adam. And as I start to close out, I want to again thank all of you. There's a sweet birdie. Bringing them back to 10. That's 3 under for the front 9. Thank you for joining. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Answer the question I asked about the conditions to play in. We've got dish shirts, double G jerky, double G goodies to give away. I've got all sorts of stuff as I'm pushing to a total of 75,000 subscribers. Once I get there, I'm looking to have a special giveaway, maybe a basket. Oh, no. That one slips out on Matty O. Also going to be offering up a special Patreon-only giveaway. I'm just going to randomly start pulling a couple names out of my Patreon supporters and sending them some stuff here as well. I'm a little overdue on that. So thanks again for joining, and we'll see you for the conclusion of the 2021 Majette Monster Mash. We'll see you on the back 9.